Is this all there is to life? Answers from Ecclesiastes, author Ray C. Stedman. Copyright is 1999. Yes. We continue. That wonderful plan for your life. The plaque on my bedroom wall, which I read every morning, says, "No thought is worth thinking that is not the thought of God. No sight is worth seeing unless it is seen through His eyes. No breath is worth breathing without thanks to the One whose very breath it is." In this continual recognition of the hand of God in ordinary events that fills the springs of enjoyment and gives lasting pleasure. Verse 16 of chapter 3 begins in the section that runs through chapter 5, in which a series of objections to Solomon's thesis are examined. One by one, Solomon considers the circumstances that seem to challenge his thesis. Someone may say, wait a minute, you say that God has a wonderful plan for my life, that He's a God of justice. But last week I was seeking justice in a courtroom and I found that the cards were stacked against me. All I got was the rawest injustice. So how do you square that with the wonderful plan for my life? The searcher takes this up first. I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there, and in the place of justice, wickedness was there. Courtrooms are designed to correct injustice, but they are often filled with wickedness and injustice. Recently, I was a witness in a case in which a man's business was being destroyed by illegal maneuverings. Everyone knew this was unjust, but certain legalities prevented anyone from getting hold of the matter to correct it. That kind of injustice can create anger and frustration. People say, what do you mean? Am I to accept that from the hand of God? The searcher examines this and says there are 3 things he wants to show us about it. First, I thought in my heart, God will bring to judgment both the righteous and the wicked, for there will be a time for every activity, a time for every deed. Though there is a present injustice, that is not the end of the story. God may correct it within time, but if He does not do so in this life, still He has appointed a time where everything will be brought out. The scriptures speak of time appointed by God, when the hidden motives of the heart will be examined, when what you have said in the dark will be heard in the light, Luke 12:3. And justice will ultimately prevail. This is what the searcher declares. Injustice is limited in its scope. It will ultimately be judged. Second, I said to myself concerning the sons of men, God has surely tested them in order for them to see that they are but beasts. And that's Ecclesiastes 3:18. He recognizes there is a beastly quality about all of us that injustice will bring out. What is it about a man that makes him prey upon even his friends or neighbors? On the TV program The People's Court, one case concerned a young woman who had become angry with her friend and roommate, whom she had known for years. In her anger, she poured sugar into the gas tank of the woman's car, destroying the engine. The judge was appalled at the vindictive spirit of this attractive young woman, who had acted in such a vicious way. These are the beastliness about us all. There is a beastliness about us all. Jeez. Put in the situation where we are suffering injustice, we react with viciousness. God often allows injustice to show us that we have that quality about us. We are like animals in other ways, too, the searcher says. Man's fate is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. One dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. No man has no advantage over the animal. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust they return. Man is frail, his existence temporary. Like the animals, we do not have very long to live on this earth. Injustice sharpens the realization that we are on the earth where, like animals, we must put up with unpleasant circumstances. We die like an animal and our bodies dissolve like a beast's. From the human standpoint, one cannot detect any difference. So the searcher says, who knows if the spirit of man rises upward and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? That really should not be a question as it's stated in this text. It should read this way. Who knows that the spirit of man rises upward and the spirit of animal goes down into the earth? That is something which only revelation can tell us. Experience cannot not offer any help here. From a human standpoint, a dead man and a dead dog look the same thing and happen to them. But from the divine point of view, this is not the case. Though we die like beasts, the spirit of man goes upwards, while the spirit of the animal goes downward. Later on, the searcher states very positively that at death, the spirit of the man returns to God, who gave it, but the spirit of the beast ends in nothingness. Injustice stems from our beastliness, and God's plan for life will uncover it through adverse events. Finally, he concludes in verse 22, I saw that there was nothing better for a man than to enjoy his work, because that is his lot. For who can bring him to see what will happen after him? He does not answer that question, he leaves it hanging. But the answer, of course, is that only God can help us understand what lies beyond this life. The wonderful thing to extract from this passage is that the great truth of God wants us to handle life in such a way that we can rejoice in every circumstance. Recognize that everything comes from the wise Father. Though circumstances bring us pain as well as pleasure, it is His choice for us. Rejoice that in the midst of the pain there is the possibility of pleasure.